Chief, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
How are we doing?
Doing pretty good. Tough year so far, but we're doing pretty good.
When you say tough year, why do you say that?
As it relates to crime, we're seeing an increase, an uptick in crime here in the city. Obviously, number of homicides this year, which is definitely concerning. We had 11 homicides so far this year. We had 11 this time last year. So we're on pace to, have more homicides this year than we had last year. But one of the things I'm extremely proud of, though, is that the work that our detectives are doing. We have a 90% rate in solving those type of crimes both years, so I'm extremely proud of that.
When you look at the factors that lead to crime,
Yes.
why people are committing crimes and homicides, what are you finding?
That's an interesting question. And if I could be candid, I think also we have to remember too, and sometimes we fail to forget, redlining was real. Racism was real. Funding the public school system, poorly funding the school system was real. So we have to recognize historically the systems that put some of our communities in the place that they are in. However, that does not make it an excuse for people to go out and randomly shoot people on, just because.
And is that part of your philosophy and method to policing? Because I know you talked a lot about community policing. Is it also showing people that there can be another way?
Absolutely. If we don't know by now, we cannot police our way out of crime. That's just totally impossible. We have to have partnerships with our community. We got to have a community that trusts law enforcement. When they trust us, we get feedback. We're able to partner, again, with our communities. We're able to solve crimes. When we don't have that relationship, it makes the job that much more difficult.
You've been here a few years now.
Yes.
At the helm.
Yes.
How is the department different from when you came?
A lot. The diversity. Let's start there. We have more officers of color than this in the history of this department, more than they ever had. We have more gender representation than we ever had in the history of this police department. Our policies and procedures are solid. These are policies that the Department of Justice have approved for us. And that relates to like our use of force policies, our First Amendment policies, things that really affect our community. Those policies are pretty solid. I'm pretty proud of that.
You're specifically talking about the consent decree.
Yes, sir.
Which outlined several measures of, hey, you guys got to get a handle on this.
Yes.
Did you take that to heart? When you came in, of course, it was put in place before you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally it was a challenge. When I came to Ferguson, I think the police officers looked at the consent decree as like punishment to the department. It's like, hey, you guys committed a bunch of ill will, so now we're punishing you for it. But we also have to keep in mind that many of these officers that work here in Ferguson today wasn't here in 2014. So one of the things that I had to do is try to change the culture here at the police department. So what I had to do is get the officers to buy into the fact that we can't see the consent decree as punishment. We have to look at it as this is the standards, this is the gold standards on what law enforcement should be. And that buy-in came in pretty quick. It helped build morale, and as you well aware, we changed the colors of the uniforms, we changed our shoulder patch, new badges, new cars, because we wanted to build that culture within the police department.
Part of that gold standard, as you called it, was not using excessive force.
Absolutely.
Having bias recognition in your day-to-day. Tell me about some of that training.
Absolutely. We have that training annually. Our use of force, our First Amendment, and things that you just mentioned. Again, what I'm extremely proud of, and I know that the systems are working and the training is working, we handle roughly about 35,000 calls for police services annually, and less than 1% of those calls result in some type of use of force. I think that's a testament that these officers are taking training seriously and they're treating the public with more respect.
Staffing, you have a few vacancies, I believe.
Yes. Yes.
And we know there's been a budget crunch, every municipality just about, but even here in Ferguson.
Yes.
And it's affected you.
It has.
I know you haven't cut officers, but have you been able to hire?
Not yet. Those discussions are still ongoing with the city. Obviously, the city is going through some budget issues, and I truly, to be honest with you, I admire the people who have to make these tough decisions because you only have so much money for a city, and you have to allocate it in the ways that you think is appropriate. However, what I will say is that public safety is extremely important. I think we should know that by now. And regardless if it's Ferguson or any other city, you have to have a well-funded law enforcement agency to address, as I just mentioned, 35,000 calls for service a year. That is a ton of calls. You got to have enough officers to be able to handle that capacity.
So what does he ask? If it was a perfect world and you could get what you needed at bare minimum, what would that be?
20 more officers. It would be. That's enough officers to staff a detective bureau. That's enough officers to have a full-time crime identification unit. It's enough officers to address hotspot policing in our community. So,
and how many do you have now?
We currently have like 31.
How is recruitment when you are able to hire? How do you attract people to this profession, especially to the Ferguson department, given the history?
Again, something that I'm actually proud of. We recently we recruited 5 experienced officers from neighboring police agencies. So what that tells me is that people are not seeing Ferguson as a place just to go. They're starting to see the movement that's taking place here. A number of our officers now, or the recruits that apply now, they apply because they say, hey, we see the change. We want to be part of that change. And again, that's something that we're proud of. We have a number of applicants that's sitting in a portal right now, both recruits and experienced officers that's looking for an opportunity to come work here.
That's a good sign.
That's an excellent sign.
If only you could
yes.
make an offer.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. When it comes to the consent decree, and you talked about the progress you're making, by the way, what still needs to be done, I should ask?
So a ton of things. We just some different policies that we have to tighten our language up on. I think we're getting fairly close, though. To say, what needs to be done and how long it takes is a very difficult question because when you submit policies, it has to have public review on it. It has to go to the Department of Justice. It has to go to the monitor. So it's a lot of checks and balances that have to go through these before someone says, okay, this is good. So, but we're getting extremely close. We're closer now than we ever had.
What kind of feedback are you getting from the Civilian Review Board?
Excellent. I think if you had an opportunity to talk to our Civilian Review Board, they'll tell you that we have a better relationship with the police department than we ever had before. And I think what helped build that relationship up is just being transparent with them and them being transparent with us. I think in any city, whether you're a police chief or mayor or even a leader of a company, it's extremely important that you listen to your clientele because oftentimes we're quick to say what's needed in a community, but we don't listen to what the community is asking for us. And I think once you start doing that, that trust slowly starts the game.
You're meeting regularly, or?
Yes, we meet once every quarter with the Civilian Review Board. But as far as the neighborhood different groups, we meet several times a month.
And what are you hearing? What are the people saying, Chief, this is what we need?
To be honest with you, a lot of the comments have been very positive. And the reason I know that is when I go to a service station here and I stop to get a cup of coffee, when residents are walking up to me saying, hey, Chief, keep doing what you're doing. We're proud of the work that the Ferguson Police Department. That tells me real changes have taken place and people really trust us. I don't know if we would have heard those conversations back in 2014.
Well, there's been high turnover when it comes to the chiefs, acting, interims, ever since 2014.
Yes.
And so your commitment to have stayed a few years and to say, I will stay even longer, probably speaks volumes to the community.
There's some goals I want to take care of. I want to make sure that we come into compliance with this federal consent decree. And I want to make sure that the department is fully accredited. That's extremely important, not only to me and to this organization, but it should be extremely important to this community. And as long as we continue to work together, I mean, we're so close to getting that done.
Let me ask you, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Yes, I mean, the partnerships that we're building with our community, we have more neighborhoods participating, in a National Night Out than we ever had before. And again, I keep going back to this, but that's a testament to the community trust of this police department and want to be involved with what we have going on here. Oftentimes you hear people on the outside to say a lot of negative things about Ferguson, but the people who live here really, truly are the ones who truly understand what's taking place in Ferguson and what's really going on. And
the federal government, have you gotten feedback on how you guys are doing?
yes. Recently, the federal judge that oversees our consent decree has complimented the leadership in this police department tremendously on the progress that we have made on the consent decree. And again, I take that to heart. You know, there's people who are in places that can make decisions that are recognizing the change that are taking place.
Come 2030, if you're here or not, what will the department look like then that's different from now?
Hopefully it becomes a model for law enforcement all across the country. Again, I think the direction that we're going with the policies and procedures, Ferguson Police Department should be that model that every agency across the nation should look at and say, hey, look, if they're able to reform and create new policies and procedures and partner with their community and things are working out, then maybe we should be doing the same thing.